I don't know if you've been paying attention or not. The real estate market has been going absolutely wild lately. And you know what time it is. It is June, and we're going to start looking at what the real estate market is doing and how it affects you. And if you've been paying attention to the world, everything is topsy-turvy. So let's start looking at the numbers and figuring out what this crazy market is doing. If we haven't met before, my name is Eric. I'm a real estate agent here in the Las Vegas area. And if you need anything, call, text, email. My information is down below in the info tab and in the pinned comment. And better yet, get on my calendar. That way you know that time is reserved for you. Let's get on back and talk about this crazy market. And you know, we use these numbers from May so we can kind of figure out what's going on, because we want to get the numbers that the board puts out for Las Vegas realtors. And like when we go back, let's just start looking at the numbers that come out from May. So when we look at those numbers in May, single family residence homes. Now, I know you've been looking. The news is just going crazy out there. So let's see what's going on. For single family residents, 2,087 homes sold in Southern Nevada, which is down 13.1%. Now, if you compare that against April, we had 2,174 homes sold, and we go back to May of last year, it was 2,401 homes sold. And just for comparison, the year prior it was 2,319. Now when we look at prices, the median price last month was $480,000. Now how does that compare? Well, it's actually up 1.5% from last year, and if you look at the previous month, which was April, it held steady. Now we are actually down 5,000 from the highs of a couple of months ago. But remember, last year in May, it was 473. So we are still up. But if we go back to 2023, that was $442,120. So we are still on the positive, and we're better than some of our contemporaries. So our sister city, where we kind of keep lockstep, Phoenix, they're down like over 6% right now. So we are doing better than them. But if you look, fewer houses are being sold, but the prices are staying steady, which is a good thing if you're a seller. But fewer houses are being sold, which is a bad thing because more sellers are putting their houses on the market. Now, if you look at the latest stuff, sellers are going like, wait a minute. Yeah, just because prices are holding steady, people aren't buying the houses right now. So sellers are starting to pull back. So we're going to start to see a little bit of a pullback on houses coming on the market. Now, that's the median price, which is, you know, you took all the houses that sold. One in the middle is the median. Now you have to remember, Las Vegas has some of the most expensive houses in the country, believe it or not. We actually have a billionaire's row, not just a millionaire's row, a billionaire's row. Let's look at what the averages are. In May, the average single family house was $594,044, which is actually down from last year by 1%. Compare that against April, where it was $606,710. Go back that year for that 1% difference, it was $600,098. And go back 2 years to 2023, it was $562,326. Now let's see how many units were available. At the end of the month, we had 6,646 units available. Whew. Telling you, more units on the market. That was up 71.8%. When you compare that against April, there were 6,213 homes on the market. So more and more homes are coming on the market, while the number of homes being sold is actually going down. Now let's go back a whole year. You know how many homes were on the market? 3,869. And when we go back 2 years, it was only 3,645 single family homes. Now, what about the effective months of inventory? Now, conventional logic says we are in a seller's market. Right now, we're looking at 3.2 months of inventory, which is up a whole whopping 97.6%. Now, we're just going to start this off. We're going to look at a month ago, or at least the previous month of April, where it was 2.9 months. Compare that against May of last year, where it was 1.6 months, and the previous May of 2023, where it was 1.4 months. Now you're still saying, like, okay, wait, it's twice as much. Now here's how it's defined, and I say it all the time. Okay, a seller's market market is anything less than 5 months. 5 to 6 months is a balanced market. Anything over 6 months is a buyer's market. That is conventional wisdom. We are no longer living in conventional wisdom. At my next live stream, which are usually on Thursday nights, you need to be there. And I'm probably going to have to start doing more of these to see what is really going on out there. That is out the window. I'm going to tell you right now, these numbers are out the window. We are in a buyer's market or a balanced market at best. Sellers, the majority of them right now, are paying things like closing costs. In a balanced market, a decent amount may pay it. In a seller's market, most sellers are not going to be paying closing costs. Most are paying it now. Do you know why? The houses are sitting on the market. So that's going to be another conversation. Now let's start breaking these cities down. As far as the number of homes that actually sold in Las Vegas, it was 1,989 with a median price of $444,000, an average price of $540,161. In Henderson, the median price was $490,000 with an average price of $606,413. In North Las Vegas, that number was $420,000 with an average of $432,915. Now let's go to the condo and townhome market, something that used to be a little bit more affordable. It is not as affordable anymore. Condo market, especially townhouse market, is a little bit more affordable, believe it or not. What's going on in the condo market right now is the HOA fees are they're just going nuts. I'm gonna have to really start breaking these down, and I may have to start doing weekly reports because things are going nuts in the market right now, especially with condos. Condos are not moving. I mean, when I say it's a buyer's market out there for condos, if you're a buyer, especially if you have cash, you can name it. You can do whatever you want. I'm just being honest. Now, if we go back to May, 559 condos and townhouses moved, which is down 19% from last year. Now, compare that against April, where it was 554. Go back a year, 690. 2 years, 684. Let's talk about those median prices. It's 307, which actually isn't bad. Compare that against April, which was 302,700, and May of last year it was 295. Go back 2 years, 275. Overall, the condo and townhome market is looking good, but I really wouldn't depend on those numbers. I know those numbers are put out by the board, but they're combining condos and townhomes, which I really wish they would pull those out. And the reason being, the condo market is not very strong right now, and it's just a completely different beast than it was just 6 months ago. Looking at the averages for last month, it was 325, 673, which, believe it or not, is up 4%. April, it was 310, 438. Go back a year, 312, 999. And go back 2 years, it was 287, 964. Talking about units available. Ooh. 3,196 units were available at the end of the month, which is up 50.4%. Now compare that against April. It was 2,390. You see a lot more units available. Go back a year where it was 2,125. But look at this, 2 years ago, 925. See how many more units there are? Wow. Effective months of inventory, 4.5. And if we broke that out, you'll see there is a lot more when it comes to the condos. 134% increase from last year. April, 4.4 months. A year ago in May, 1.9 months. And 2 years ago in 2023, 1.4 months. Breaking that down, Las Vegas, we had 384 sales. Median price, $285K. Average, 307.71. Henderson, 122 sold, 366,500 for the median, and 398,153 for the average. And of course, bringing it up is North Las Vegas, 439, median price $345K with an average of $330,000, 813. Now let's break this down. Of those single family homes that sold, 929 where conventional loans, 44.42% of them. Cash, it just keeps going down. Vegas used to be a cash heavy city, only 434, which is 20.75. If I'd done this a year ago, that would have been 35%. All that California cash is gone. FHA, 21.85% for 457 sales. VA, 226 for 10.8%. Now we go to the condo and townhome market, kind of a different beast. You're going to expect a lot more cash and conventional here for various reasons. That's why I'm probably going to do this big one, and then I'm going to start doing more weeklies and really break that market down, because you really want to see what's going on, especially from the investment. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do for the rest of the year for these. For the sales, cash is king when it comes to condos a lot of times, because a lot of them, especially what's going on in the condo market, I'm sure because they don't break this out, a lot of these were for condos, cash 170, 30.41%, conventionals 219 for 39.17%, FHA 119 for 21.28%, and VA 41 for 7.33%. I'm pretty sure most of those for VA especially, and a lot for the FHA, were the townhomes. Reason being, townhomes are treated like single family residency. There's a lot of special additional stuff that has to go into condos. I'm gonna have to go into that again for you guys. No, I keep promising that, but I'm gonna get to it. So when you combine the two, there were 2,719 sales for Southern Nevada. We did kind of break it out a little bit for the three cities, but because people asked this, single story, there was 1,291. Now remember, things like townhomes and condos, you kind of put it in your mind a certain thing. Condos, townhomes, single family. It's an ownership type. Believe it or not, there are single family homes that are connected. Okay? These are ownership types. There are single family condos. There are single family townhomes. There are townhomes that have pools, private pools. So keep that in mind. Recuerdes, as they say in Spanish. So with that, of the sales, 545 had private pools. 386 had spas. Now I'm always getting people, it's like, well, I want a repo because I can save a bunch of money. Of those 2,719 sales, only 17 were repos. I want a short sale because I can save money. Only 6 were short sales. So keep that in mind when you're going like, I'm trying to save money. I want to get a distressed property. Well, 100 people are trying to do that. Just putting it out there, okay? 3-car garages. 482 had 3-car garages. 5-bedroom homes plus, because there could be 6-bedroom homes, 7-bedroom homes. 589 homes with 3+ bathrooms. 1,477 homes with 3+ bedrooms and 3+ baths. 560. Got people always wanting to go, I don't want an HOA. I don't want anybody in my business. Well, over 70% of single family homes will have an HOA. Homes without an HOA, single family, are usually going to be in older neighborhoods. Keep that in mind. 100% of condos and almost 100% of townhomes are going to have HOAs. I have run across a condo, well, usually not a condo, but a townhome or two that did not have HOAs, and they're basically older units that have gone feral. I'm going to leave it at that. So just to let you know, so 673 with no HOA and 2,046 with HOAs. SIDS and LIDs, those are just special assessments. Don't want to get too deep into it. 156. Every once in a while, people want a house with a casita. There are 61 of them. Gated communities, 942. Houses with septics, which you cannot build anymore. It's kind of like a house with grass. If you have grass, you may want to not consider taking that money, because there may be somebody out there with or who came from someplace and they're like, I would like to have grass. Guess what? You cannot put grass in anymore. So if you take that money, even if you just go like, I'm not going to take the money because I want to put grass in again one day, you cannot put grass in. If you have grass, that may be worth something to someone. You cannot go out and buy sod and put grass in, even if you did not take the money. I could probably tell you a story. I may tell it one day, but I'm not going to tell it here. This is about market updates. Houses with wells, 51. Horse properties, 58. Horse property means it is zoned for horses, doesn't mean it has a horse. I got a horse story to tell you one day. Age restricted properties, which is 55 plus. There are some states that have 62 plus properties. It's a little bit different. We only have 55 plus properties here. 171. Houses with basements. We do have basements here, believe it or not. Had to tell somebody that the other day. They're rare, but we have them. 24. Actually had a guy in my squadron. His house had a basement. I've actually seen a few houses with basement. His house had a basement. He actually was well off. His wife was an Olympic athlete. She was actually in the Guinness Book. She was a volleyball player. She played for Kazakhstan. She was actually in the Guinness Book of World Records as one of the top 10 tallest women in the world. So if you look on Google and find the top 10 tallest women in the world and find the volleyball player, that's her. He was married to her, so he had some money. I guess Kazakhstan plays well. I'm not sure I think she played for the U.S. for the volleyball team for the Olympics. So just looking at mortgage rates from when I pulled this a couple of days ago. I'm not quoting the mortgage rates. I'm just letting you know where things are going. Different lenders. This is national. This is from Mortgage News Daily. 30-year rates about 6.89, 15-year rates 6.16, jumbo 6.94, FHA 6.45, VA 6.47. Always, I'm like a conductor on this one. Check your rates with your local lender. Reason I got to say this, lenders, when I talk about, the realtors and, all this stuff and the lawsuits and how things are going in the real estate industry now, there's a lot of pieces in real estate. It's just that the real estate agent was the most visible part. There's a lot of people out there collecting their little bits. Well, what you think the lenders are doing this for free? Their rates that they charge based on how much money they want to make. There are lenders out there who are willing to make less money and they charge you less to make less money. They do like Walmart. And then there are others who charge you ridiculous fees in between. I think I'm gonna tell you a little story real quick. Zillow, yeah, how do they make money? You're the product and they sell you like you're on an auction block. Keep it in your head when I said auction block. So I had this client, and for whatever reason, he calls up, he saw a house on Zillow that he liked, and he calls up about the house instead of calling me. And of course, you're the product. And he calls when you call up, you're sold to a realtor. And realtors pay thousands to be on Zillow. So those realtors you see there, they pay thousands to be there. If you haven't seen my thing, I've been working with a certain lender. I'm gonna put it out there. It's Veterans United. I've been working with them for years. And I've always said, when I've said it's like, hey, always check your rates and their fees are charging. But I couldn't say it outright. I'm no longer working with them, so I can say it now. But anyway, he's telling, well, I'm already working with, a realtor and this lender. So, Veterans United reaches out to him, and he's like, well, you need to tell him he needs to work with me because, he doesn't want to waste his money. So it's like, well, I'm going to tell him to work with my lender. I'm going to put all these bad bugs in his ear about you unless you tell him to work with me. Well, anyway, he puts bad bugs and convinces him. So anyway, when it's all said and done, he poisoned the well very well. So the guy ends up working with another lender. Now, I don't have too many bad things to say about Veterans United other than this origination fee I always keep talking about, but I'm not gonna lie, they do limit it to an amount. So he ends up working with a friend who, let's just say, didn't bring any Vaseline to the party. And the friend charged him a full 1% origination fee on a $700,000 loan, whereas he would have been limited to $3,500. And so, like I said, this friend didn't bring any Vaseline to the party and charged him like $7,000 of origination fees. Now, I have problems with these origination fees. A lot of the lenders I work with don't charge them. Anyone I recommend, don't charge them. And even with Veterans United, I may have an issue with them charging them. They limit them. And he would have been limited to $3,500 in origination fees. On top of that, this lender went, oh, we're doing you a favor. I'm your friend, and we're going to pay for the termite inspection for you. Some friend, the termite inspection company they used, charged a trip fee and charged it to him. The veteran at that time was not supposed to pay for termite inspections. Charged him $400. termite inspection company I use, they charged at the time $65 and charged it to the seller. So he was out like, over $4,000. Yeah. Plus there were a whole bunch of other fees his guy tacked on. So he was out like $4,500 from his friend. So yeah, this is what I'm always saying, look at them fees. And typically what a lender will do is, on average, the amount of the loan, they make about 1.5%. Everybody in the chain is making money. It's just that these lawsuits, because it's visible, everyone sees the commission that or we'll just say saw the commission that the realtor made, and it was like, ooh, the realtor's making all this. They didn't see all these other amounts because everybody in the chain is making money. Yeah, everybody got fed, and everybody else is still getting fed. It's just that, they're just hiding it. But anywho, this is why I try to make stuff. And now that I'm no longer affiliated, I'll tell you, if up front, just look at your statements. If they have that word origination fee, if it doesn't say zero, go someplace else. You shouldn't be charged any more than about $1,500-$1,600 for total fees to a lender, especially on a VA loan. That's the majority of it there. I really can't speak on mortgages because that's not my forte. I'm just telling you the way it is, okay? Had a veteran one time. As a matter of fact, he was the very first person I ever dealt with who came from YouTube. And he was like, I'm looking at your stuff. It's like, do you really hate salespeople that much? I was like, yeah, I do. If you look at a video, it's not really a video. It's a short that should be coming out next few days. It'll probably precede this one. And it's about this thing because there's this little event thing coming up and it's real estate, but they're trying too hard. When someone's trying too hard, there's a big ask. AK, we're pretending we're trying to help you and we're pretending, but you don't send out 5 emails before 10 a.m., a text, and a phone call on Monday for something that's happening Thursday. And it's not just, this is like every day for the last 2 weeks. This is the first phone call, I believe. But a text, I think every other day a text and multiple emails per day, unless they got a big ass. It's like, this is a coaching program for thousands of dollars. And that's what I found wrong with the whole sales process. And the more desperate they get to fill their pockets, and that's the problem I have. It's like when realtors say, oh yeah, you need to buy this house. You need to sell this house. And you'll find that I'm trying to tell you what's going on. But anyway, enough about me. This is about you. So this is the end of it. If you enjoyed this, do that YouTube stuff, which is, like it, share it. Video should be popping up that says, and YouTube algorithm says you're supposed to like it. And if you like and share, of course, it helps me out, gives me that HBO discount, help a brother out. And you know what I always say to all of my military brothers and sisters, Alpha Mike Foxtrot. And of course, my information is down below. If you need any kind of help, call, text, email, and of course, get on my calendar. That way you're not calling while I'm out with clients or something like that. And that way, that time's blocked off for you. I'll mark it up on my calendar and I'll call you back. Or if you got on my calendar, we'll get on that Zoom, okay? And for the rest of the 50+% of you, which is actually the majority who enjoy my frank honesty, I can sometimes be a little too frank. We're going to keep them lights on for you, which is actually kind of funny now because, for those of you who know, that comes from them old Motel 6 commercials. Today, the guy who used to say that actually sued Motel 6 because they stopped paying him, even though he hadn't made those commercials in years, and they're still using it. So anyway, we're going to keep them lights on for you.